What's up, Carp Freaks, and welcome to Carplife. You join me here today at Westmore Farm Carp Fishery in Lincolnshire, or SNR Fishery as it's also known, where I have just done a 24-hour tutorial with Kevin. It has been very tough going, but it has also been very rewarding, as you'll see here in this footage. Well, what a way to get this session up and running. Check this out, an absolutely mint looking 26-pound scaly. Rods have already been in the water 2.5 hours, something like that, so looking very encouraging for the session ahead. On this session we just used a very simple blowback rig, fished down the margin over a handful of just boilies, a very simple approach, but as you can see, it worked very well on this occasion. So when I'm holding my tutorial sessions, a lot of people come to me with a preconceived idea of what they feel they would like to learn. But that's not how I do it. I watch how they fish and then tell them the areas that I feel need the most work. And in 99.9% of the cases, that is casting. So when we're looking at casting, we're looking at improving accuracy. So it takes fewer casts to get the rig in position, which in turn means less disturbance. And on the theme of less disturbance, we're also looking at controlling the cast. So the lead is landing with very little disturbance going into the swim. And these are all things that a lot of people don't really know that they are not doing until it's been highlighted to them. And another thing I looked at during this session was rigs and rig mechanics, and I think I really highlighted the fact that rigs don't have to be super complicated to be effective. So before I tell you about what I've been up to since we last spoke, I just want to say a massive thank you for all the comments, all the messages and all the words of support regarding a subject that I raised in the last episode. Now, I wasn't feeling particularly good during the lockdown. Being apart from loved ones, it did hit me hard, and I'm sure so many of us were in that exact same position, but I did struggle with that. And I think all those words, all those kind words from all you guys certainly helped me, and I also think it will have helped a lot of other people who felt in the same position also reading them comments. So yeah, thanks so much to everyone. Now luckily for me, my spirits were lifted when I was soon able to return to Germany, and it was great to spend time with Judith and also great to spend time on the bank. Hi everyone, so I'm back in Germany at last, and I'm back on the beautiful Bavarian River. But today I'm not actually fishing. Instead, I've come down with a bucket of bait, and I'm going to trickle in a bit of bait on a few spots and then potentially put in some time on the river again later on during my stay here. But with this river, the water is always very coloured, and it's difficult to see the bottom in a lot of areas. Now this river can be very deceiving as well. For example, this spot behind me where we've got this fallen tree, the flow kind of pushes in on this inside line. It looks like it'd be nice and deep, but it's not. It's about a foot deep, and the reason I know that is I've come down with a rod and a bare lead, and before I bait any spots, I always have a few casts around first, feel for a drop to give me an indication of how deep the swim is, and that way I know I'm not baiting areas that when I come down to fish, I then discover that they're only really shallow and not potential carp holding areas. I mean, this looks fantastic with that fallen tree, but yeah, it's little more than a foot deep, but you would never know it. You would never know it. So this spot is a no-go, but I'm going to carry on walking, look for some more likely looking spots, have a cast around with a bare lead, and if they're good, trickle in a bit of bait, then I can start putting some time together on this river. Now unfortunately, my few river sessions didn't really amount to anything. Conditions over there were not great at this stage. The daytime temperatures were just a few degrees above freezing, and the nighttime temperatures were several degrees below freezing. So although my sessions were unsuccessful, I had still discovered lots of new areas that I'd earmarked for my future sessions. So once I was back home in the UK, there was absolutely loads of work that needed to be done down at my Wainstones fishery before the anglers could once again grace the banks. And the main jobs that needed doing were on the swims themselves, in particular on the main double swim on the Wainstones pole. Now, I'd wanted to redo the swim for quite a while and I couldn't really work out how to do it, but I felt like the best way to really pimp it up was to fit it out with decking. So with the decking all finished, I built new steps leading down to the swims. And I give the boards themselves several coats of wood stain and varnish. And with all the work finished, I was really happy with the end result. Now I know in the last episode of Carplife, I said, I'm not sticking any more fish into both the poles, there's enough fish in there. Well, Judith persuaded me otherwise. She really liked the orange carp that we stocked into wood pole, and she said she'd really like to have some golden tench in there too. So I did an order with Tony Campbell, who delivered me them lovely scaly fish last time round, and I placed an order for some golden tench. And okay, initially I didn't really like the idea of them going in, but when I took delivery of them, they did look pretty cool.
Look at that. He's great.
Now, some of you may have seen on my social media pages that something pretty big happened to me recently. Quite momentous, really, and some might say life-changing. And that is, I got a new van. The Flying Satsuma is no more. I have gone all out black again, and I have to say a huge thank you to James at Trustford Heathrow for sorting me out this beast. Now I've got to say a huge thank you to James at Trustford Heathrow for sorting me out with this van. It was actually James that sorted me out with the orange one, but I didn't hold that against him. And this time he did me such a fantastic deal. He made the whole process so easy. I really can't praise him enough. If anyone is looking for a new van, I highly recommend you speak to James at Trustford Heathrow, and I'm sure he'll look after you just as much as he looked after me. Now, as well as doing jobs on the main Wainstones pool, there was also lots to do on the new wood pool before its grand opening. And the first thing I wanted to do was to put a path around the lake. Now, I didn't want it to run the full perimeter. Instead, it would only go around a quarter of the way around. The rest would just be a natural pathway, and the idea was to try and create as natural an environment as possible. Now, the next job was to create the swims on wood pole. Now, this tiny little pole is available for exclusive bookings for just 2 anglers. So I decided to place 2 swims close together right in the centre of the pole.
Well, I'm pretty happy with them. That's both the swims on wood pole finished. They're pretty good.
So the anglers can use these 2 central swims as their main base camp. But if they wish to have a walk and go looking for fish and do some stalking, they can do so from anywhere around the pool. Now, I know last time I said I'm not putting any more fish in the pool, that's it. And I know I went and put some golden tench in, but that was it. I wasn't putting any more fish in the pool except for these fish, which I went and put in the pool. These were the I Heart Carp fish. I had a message from Ross and he showed me some photos of some fish he had available, and they looked insane. I just had to have some for the lake. So this is the first fish out of the tank and it's an absolute banger. Look at that. That's an amazing scaly fish. Well, this is the 3rd fish we're putting in today, and look at that for a carp. That's absolutely incredible. These fish really are very unique, and that's why I wanted them to go into Wainstones. So this is the 4th and final fish that we're putting in Wainstones today, and I think we've saved the best till last. Look at that. Ross said he hasn't seen a fish in this lake that's a big plated apple slice linear, and that's why he's picked this one for me. That is absolutely amazing. I'm over the moon with that fish.
I'm sure whoever catches it will be too.
Now, something pretty big has happened recently, and this all began as a dream. No, a fantasy that happened last autumn during the filming of the Challenge special. Now, during that filming, I was able to inseminate Harry and Leon Bartrop with the idea of a picnic program. Now, after a very successful insemination, this picnic idea grew, and finally I was very proud to introduce to the world my picnic time baby. Hello everyone, I'm Mark Pictures, and I can't believe I'm about to say the following words. Welcome to picnic time. Well, here we are, first picnic absolutely ruined. Cheers, Leon.
Well, what can I say?
Get the kettle on, mate. And that is play. Mustache or no mustache. It is time for quick fire questions. Don't laugh, it's not meant to be funny. But yeah, anyway, let's slip him back because it's not catching time. This is picnic time. I said it at the same time and everything. That's great. Yeah. Weighing in at a healthy 35 minutes, picnic time is available to watch on my YouTube channel, and you can watch it right now by clicking the link here. But all jokes aside, we had an absolute blast filming this. It was so much fun. I met up with Leon down at East Elf Lakes in Peterborough, and it was just a laugh from start to finish. And judging by some of the comments and some of the messages that I've received, it seems many of you have enjoyed watching this just as much as we did filming it. A couple of days later and I was back in Germany, and I had a new water to get my teeth stuck into. This was just a 5-minute drive from Judith's house. It was a lake of around 17-18 acres in size, which sits right next to the Autobahn. So it isn't in the most peaceful and tranquil of settings, but I was told it did hold some really nice fish. I don't doubt that for a second, but what I did find early on was it also held lots and lots of small fish. So I decided to fish this lake because of the stories of all the big fish it held. But this isn't one of them. But catching any fish on your first trip to a new venue is always that little bit special. At least it shows I've got the location and the bait and the tactics right. Although they definitely need a bit of tweaking, I think, if I'm to get in amongst those bigger fish. But I'm far from disappointed. It's nice to get up and running so early on in this little campaign, and I'm sure this little fella is just the first of many. Not the first of many little ones, hopefully, but just the first of many. Now, I'm not going to lie, I did start to get a little bit despondent. I had quite a few sessions on that highway lake and caught quite a lot of fish, but all of them were only just into double figures. And I did wonder if those big fish were still there. That was until on one of my final mornings in Germany, I saw a large shoal of fish in one of the corners. There was probably 60, 70 carp in one of these snaggy corners. And the majority of the fish were high singles, low doubles, apart from one fish sat right in the middle of them all. That was a really big fish. It looked to me, I don't want to overgun it, but it looked every bit a 40-pounder to me. So it's clear there are big fish in that lake. It's just going to take a lot of hard work to get amongst them. If you're enjoying this episode of Carplife, please make sure to like this video and also subscribe to my channel. And for all you subscribers, there's a chance to win a really great prize at the end of this video. Now, although the lockdown was still in full effect over in Germany, there were still lots of outdoor activities that we could do. Now, Judith had told me about a forest with a river, and a lot of people like to go there to do rock jumping. They jump on the rocks to get backwards and forwards across the river. Now, Judith is the clumsiest person I have ever met. So as soon as she told me about this, we just had to go, because this was only ever going to end one way.
Now?
Over there.
I can't go there.
You can go that way. Yeah, go back. Oh, oh, she's in. She's in. Yeah. You might as well just swim across now. That's brave. That's really brave. Good. Oh! Oh, she's in! I'm so sorry. Oh. Good job. You made that look really easy.
So with my time up in Germany, I made my way back to England, and this time Judith came back with me. Now, once I got home, we both had to have a period of quarantine, but that wasn't a problem. We both kept ourselves entertained and amused with our baking and beauty regime.
Ah! Ooh, that looked good. Yeah? I want to do it to you.
Why do you do so slow?
No, yeah.
Why do you do it so slow?
I don't know what.
I did it like that. Of course I did.
What are you doing?
Making you do it faster. That's my hair.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Oh, we've done good. That's pretty good.
So with our quarantine period complete, we were finally able to go outdoors and meet up with my two girls and just have some really nice family time together. So while Judith was staying with me, I really wanted to treat her to a really nice romantic meal, but with restaurants closed, that meant I decided to bring the restaurant to me, and I converted my living room into a really nice romantic restaurant. That evening, Judith and I prepared together a three-course meal. I then ran Judith a jacuzzi bath and said I need 30 minutes to get everything finalised. And I went all out on this one. I even bought a tablecloth. I mean, that's full on for me. So tablecloth, I bought 150 little tea light candles. I had lights coming down from the ceiling. I think it looked pretty good. And yeah, Judith certainly seemed surprised when she came downstairs and saw it all laid out. The evening was absolutely amazing. The food was brilliant. We had so much fun, so many laughs. And at the end of the evening, I said to Judith I had a bit of a surprise for her. And I don't know what she was expecting, but she definitely wasn't expecting the book that I placed in her hands. So what I'd had a book printed of our story together and the things that I love about Judith the most. And I'd wrote the book in like a in a poem form, and the last rhyme was, "There's something I'd like to say." And then I asked this. Please admire me.
Of course.
Oh, we just got engaged. Now, I'd planned this evening down to the finest detail for months, and I was so nervous. I really was. Not that Judith would say no, that was never a question really, but just that something would go wrong, that I'd mess it up somehow after all the planning. So when everything went so perfect and I didn't mess anything up and she said yes, it felt amazing. It felt kind of surreal. When I woke up the next day, it was almost like, that happened? That really actually finally happened? I'd wanted to ask you this for so long, but all the lockdowns and restrictions meant there just wasn't the right time or the right place until now, and it just felt absolutely amazing. So to celebrate our engagement, we did what any carpy couple would do, and that is, of course, go fishing together. And the next morning we headed off down my Wainstones wood pole. Judith really wanted to catch a golden tench or one of the golden carp, just anything golden, that's what she wanted. And although we didn't get that, we did manage a double bubble. So we're here at Woodpool for our engagement celebration fishing session, and we've got a double bubble. There we go, a double bubble. Great. So Judith and I have just come on to Woodpool just for a few hours as a bit of a engagement celebration session, and we've just had a double run, fish a piece, little pump fish, probably, I don't know, 7-8 pound. Some of the babies that are in the pool are absolutely gorgeous looking fish all the same. Well done. So we're only on the bank for a few short hours, but we managed to catch 2 really nice fish, and we also had a really nice picnic too, which we shared with the chickens. Well, that brings us now almost bang up to date. The only thing I haven't told you about is the challenge that we have just filmed. And because we have just filmed it, I can't really give too much away. All I can say though is this will go down as possibly one of my favourite challenges to date. That's all I can say. But here's a few little clips that I can show you from that challenge. That clutch is so tight. Still taking a bit. Forced to play a little bit where he is. Now that some of the lockdown restrictions have started to be eased across the UK, I've finally been able to welcome anglers back to my Wainstones fishery. And since we've done so, there's been some absolutely fantastic fish caught.
That looks awesome, mate. So well done on your PB equaling fish.
Yes.
27.12.
Yes.
Awesome looking fish that, mate. Well done.
Oh shit.
Skinny arm. Although this April has actually been one of the coldest or frostiest Aprils on record, that hasn't stopped the fish feeding at all. In fact, there's been some amazing fish caught, and what you're looking at now is just a small selection of what's been caught recently. Now, as well as showing you some of the fish that have been caught from my Wainstones fishery recently, I also want to share with you some of the fish that you guys have been catching on my Carp Freaks pop-ups. Now remember, if you send in your captures to me over on my Instagram page, then you too can feature on the next episode of Carplife. Now loads of you have messaged me with your catches and success stories, but one guy I want to give a big shout out to is Craig Cameron. Now Craig is based in the northeast, and using the Carp Freaks in March alone, he landed 17 fish from a tough northeast syndicate. And out of those 17 fish, he landed 8 20s and 3 30s, 3 northeast 30s. And in the northeast, 30s are a rare creature indeed. So big ups, Craig. That is awesome angling. Great work. Well, that's almost it for this episode of Carplife. But before I go, it's competition time. But before I tell you about this latest competition, I first of all need to tell you the winner from last time. And we had up for grabs a signed copy of my new book, Carp Fishing Made Easy. And the question I asked you was, what was the title of my new book? And it was, of course, Carp Fishing Made Easy. Now, thank you to everyone that entered, but the winner that I selected purely at random by scrolling through all the correct answers in the comments was Matthew Burgess. So well done, Matthew Burgess. Drop me a message on my Instagram page, send me your details, and I'll send you a signed copy of my new book. So it's now time to announce the prize for this episode's competition. And I think getting engaged has made me overly generous, because the prize this time is a weekend's fishing for 2 on my wood pole. Now, all you have to do to stand a chance of winning this amazing prize is simply like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and answer this very, very simple question. What was the first food item that I picked out of my picnic hamper during the episode of Picnic Time? Now, I'm sure you've all seen the video and you know this answer straight away like that. But if you're some sort of freak that hasn't seen the video, then you can do so by clicking the link here. A bit harsh calling them a freak.
I did think that when you said
Really? So put your correct answer in the comments section below. Don't forget to like this video and also subscribe to my channel, and I'll announce the winner in the next episode of Carplife. Well, that is it for this episode of Carplife. Already I've got lots of exciting things planned in the coming weeks. Maybe none of them are as exciting as getting engaged, but exciting nonetheless, and I can't wait to tell you all about them in the next episode. So until then, stay safe, stay carpy, and I'll see you soon.